Hey everybody, welcome to CodeChat. I'm Jeremy Foster, aka Code Foster, and I am joined today by Adam. How you doing, Adam?
Good, Jeremy. Good to be here. How's everybody doing?
And Adam, as you can tell by his shirt advertising, as long as the wrinkle isn't making it look like something a little bit different, Adam is with Hackster.io. What is Hackster.io?
Hackster.io is a community for open source hardware hackers, people that want to learn about hardware, how to build it, how to hack it, connect with other people. It's a creation platform for hardware.
Okay. Super awesome. So that's why I want to take this opportunity to talk about the general concept of hacker communities.
Great.
What do you think? What is a hacker community?
So I would say that the hacker community truly is it's a grassroots kind of sort of movement that probably started, I would actually say it started all over the world, not in a particular place. People can track a lot of it to San Francisco, to tech shops, etc. It's probably started like about 10 years ago.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, availability of lower cost electronics and easier way to actually program them became just available for a broader audience. So people started getting together and actually building things, almost like the early stage hackathons without being a hackathon, a hardware hackathon.
Yeah.
But what I've seen is that it became a lot more organized around the spaces, hacker spaces, which have all the equipment from the basic of a soldering station to 3D printers and some other more sophisticated oscilloscopes, etc. Tools to actually build hardware. Laser cutters, actually a big hit, right? So the community started to get together around this spaces that enable them to build stuff that they couldn't actually build at home, and that actually really formed relationships, friendships. They organize events. They actually some of them even funded companies out of these kind of spaces. So you see them all over the world. I was actually recently on a little bit of a hackerspace world tour from Shenzhen to Estonia, Finland, and a bunch of places in the US. And it's incredible. You see people everywhere doing stuff.
Does it feel like the same culture in every space?
Okay, that's a great question, actually, Jeremy. Thank you. Yes.
It does.
It does.
I would expect that.
And that's the one thing when the most astonishing thing we saw is when we went to China, we really expected something a bit more exotic, some stereotypical, I don't know what I expected, something a little different. It wasn't. It was linear. It was this optimistic, intellectual, people that just want to explore things, build them, spend like their evenings together.
Yeah.
And some people had like this really fancy, hacker spaces with like the first MakerBot, on display and all these really cool iconic things. And some other people were just like in deserted warehouses, that they converted into a hacker space, and they've built everything from scratch.
What other words would you use to describe that culture, to capture what it is that all of those people in those spaces have in common? I'm thinking enthusiasm.
Yes,
thinking they're definitely motivated.
It's enthusiasm. It's authentic and genuine love for playing with technology, and in particularly with hardware, which is also interesting because a lot of people. I'm more like I have a commercial mind, so I can also see how people can commercialize stuff, and I realize that's not what it is about whatsoever. Actually.
Yeah, so they're not necessarily trying to get this product to market.
No, it's just really, these are true hobbyists. They're trying to challenge themselves, and because of the plethora of hardware platforms now, open source hardware, it's so available, and there's so many different types of technologies coming to market, and new radios and new ways to develop them, and they just want to do it. They just want to explore and build and see how you can connect things, the cloud-enabled things that you couldn't do before. So it's just interesting. And that's actually the maker movement and the hacker movement. It's all about that.
See, I think that one of the core motivations for the movement, and the reason why in the last 10 years it's gaining speed, and why right now I feel like it's gaining speed at an exponential rate, is because I always say that computers, until we had network connections, were basically just great big calculators.
Right.
They were big tools that could do some great stuff for us, but it was nothing more than a glorified calculator. As soon as we were able to connect them together, now it was a communication device. It was something that could facilitate something like Hackster.io. It could facilitate community. And now we've got these little devices, and I've been in hardware for quite a while, but I've never been very enthusiastic about it because you build a little gadget and it does something and then it's done. And that's all you've got. But now you've got a little gadget that can send all of its data to the cloud. It can receive communications from other components, other like components, and you can really build some amazing scenarios.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is where everybody's imagination is now kind of like exploding because it's kind of like limitless. In many ways, if you think about like radios from Wi-Fi to Bluetooth to Zigbee radios, etc., they existed for actually a while, and you could create this kind of network, really easily for many, many years now. But it's the cloud. It's kind of like the Azure enablement, right? That actually make it all work. If I can actually converse between a variety of devices and let that conversation grow and do different things that it couldn't have done before. And mainly it's all about automation, to be honest, automation and information. It's like magic, So you see people how they actually hack their homes, they actually automate their homes in a way that nobody has done this before. And they take a phone which has typically say about 16 sensors, and they use that device, which is otherwise is a wearable, to actually know that this is you, this is that particular personality walking in, and the house respond to it in a certain way. It's like these are kind of like magical moments.
Yeah, it feels magic. Yeah, it feels wonderful.
It does. And if you go to a meetup or a hacker meeting, etc., and people just keep talking about this, I got this solenoid and it's actually activating my little lock, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and they keep exploring because you can today and you couldn't before, and that's exciting.
Well, and I think that one of the things that's opened up is the fact that I don't have to just specialize in one narrow area and get really good at that. I can get somewhat good at making things out of wood, making things out of plastic, doing a little bit of electronics, a little bit of software, and put something together that's kind of a combination of things. Like one of the technologies that I'm really excited about is speech. And Cortana specifically. It's really exciting. And so I hooked that up with a home network. And now I can say,
cool. Really?
Cortana, set my thermostat to 72. And she says, setting your thermostat to 72, and then she sets it. And it's a marriage of a few different kinds of technology.
I just learned something new, by the way. I did not know the APIs are open and you can do this.
Oh yeah,
that's incredible.
It's pretty great.
Okay, I just learned something new. Thank you very much. It was good. I mean, you just actually completely epitomized it, right? That you're aware of a certain capability that can control cloud APIs, devices, and you actually hacked it to do things for you the way you want to do it. And that's magic, right? You enabled something magical. And I feel that that's the ultimate thing. People want to do things. They want to see the LED light up at the end of the solder. They want to see the voice activation does something. And the physical creation, again, from laser cutters to 3D printers. It's just fun, It's real and it's available for millions of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions of people. I don't know. The world is big. Versus, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. You had to be extremely skilled to do any of these things in the past, and you just don't have to. And in fact, what you see if you go to a hackerspace in Hackster, for example, we have two of our chief hackers. There's two women. One name is Alex and Monica. And they're not electronics engineers. They're not engineers by trade. They actually are software hackers that learn a lot about hardware and molding actually physical objects. And they just became amazing at it. Really like Alex is like celebrating her community in the Bay Area because everybody know her and what she can do. So it is self-taught. It is enabling a lot more people that in the past couldn't have done that. What are some really cool projects that you've seen? Let's see. A lot of people are trying. What I kind of like is that people take like one of the most celebrated, say, products in the world. Let's just say Nest, which is one of the biggest IoT hub ever created. It's one of the biggest commercial successes and exits. So everyone knows the Nest. It's not too expensive, but it costs a nice chunk of change, and you give your whole life to Google, which probably is not the happiest thing, at least in my opinion. But people will go and take, hey, you think the Nest is great. Let me show you I can build a Nest for $20. Actually, the founder of Spark.io, they make Spark cores. He actually put this amazing project on Hackster, and he showed you how he kind of like from wood, he actually created a little enclosure. Yeah, a little plastic cover, an LED, number counter, a little dial, and he uses a Spark core. Does it have a
proximity sensor like the Nest?
It has a bunch of sensors, maybe not all of them, but it definitely is completely Wi-Fi connected, does connect as a thermostat to your HVAC, and completely actually controls it and connects to your device. And it's like, and there you have it. You can just do it for $20. Here's the code, here's the schematics, here's the bill of materials, go. So I kind of love to see how people can kind of reverse engineer.
1 second. So, and I also love the fact that he's got this thing on his wall that was laser cut out of wood, and it looks home built. It looks to me like the difference between a homemade loaf of bread and one I bought from the store. There's something just better about the homemade loaf of bread because it's one-off, right? And there's something better about that.
I agree. And then if you take, and so I see a lot of these kind of projects, and then you can take it to a further step, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
They're completely open and they're hackable. So you asked me if it has any sensors. Maybe it doesn't, but it says, open it up and you can actually add sensors, any sensors you want to add. And that's part of the challenge.
Yeah.
And I had this hypothesis that maybe in the future as technology becomes like a new level of literacy, like writing code is almost like writing. Everybody have to know that. Kind of like almost like as my generation knew how to use a computer, how to manipulate a PowerPoint, like my kid or your kids will know, absolutely, they'll have to know how to code.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future, a lot of people will choose to go with those hacked devices that they can actually build upon versus just say, go to the restaurant and get that fixed meal that is good, but not as interesting, not as connected.
Well, and we'll probably also have, I was just watching a special on Netflix called Print the Legend. Have you seen that by chance?
No, I have not. No.
So it's all about the 3D printing industry. You should definitely watch it. And it really focuses in on MakerBot.
Cool. Yeah.
And specifically on, Brie Pettit. And then also on Form Labs and the Form 1 printer.
Yeah.
And just looking at the output of this Form 1 printer, which I don't have any experience with yet, although I just found out that the Maker Garage, which we talked about last week, the Maker Garage is Microsoft's makerspace.
Yeah, which is a beautiful makerspace, by the way.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And we just got a Form 1 printer.
Nice.
And so this doesn't use regular extruded plastic. It uses stereolithography, I believe it's called, and lasers and goo, sounds way cooler, right? Lasers and goo.
I've seen one of these, and the resolution on it, it's just so much tighter, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
So I can imagine that in the future we won't necessarily have something that looks so homemade because the quality of the tools are going to get better, such that it's going to look like a commercial product, but it still was sourced as an open source product.
Yeah.
Maybe created by Joe down the street, and like you said, I added something to it that I need at my house. I hit print, and it's there.
You absolutely. I totally believe in that. And another thing I see, again, I'm super fixated on the electronics part. Open source hardware, in particularly, used to be like these big kind of boards, that were kind of expensive. You think about it in context of a commercial board. A PCB, commercial PCB, can cost you, say, with all the right components, say a Wi-Fi chip and a nice MCU, $5 to build, and an open source, it will be micronized this big. But in open source hardware, say Raspberry Pi or Arduino, can cost you like $30 and be this big to do the same thing. But what I'm seeing is they're all shrinking in form factor, and the prices are shrinking. Again, if you look at Spark, Spark Core used to have, something that looks like this.
Let's just bring it up.
like the Microsoft logo, a lot bigger maybe.
Let's spell it right.
Yes, it's spark.io.
I bet we're going to get more stuff if we spell it right.
Yeah. So this is really a great example. So actually, they had another product called the Spark Core. And if they'll still put it on their site, which was maybe 3 times the size of it.
Yeah,
and
of the Photon here.
Of the Photon, double the price, and about half the performance. Now they came up with a new product that is half the form factor, which is really meaningful form factors because you have to fit it somewhere. Wearables are really, they do have physical limitations, right? And it's more powerful, half the price. So you're starting to think, kind of like what you said, the 3D printers are printing like manufacturing grade sort of looking products, finished products. These guys are not producing, and it's not just Spark, obviously. I'm talking about everybody else here. Beagleboards, everybody else.
There's a lot of devices out there,
we love everybody. So, but what you see is that they are becoming a lot more commercial ready, as if you actually hired an army of electrical engineers to actually build it.
Yeah.
And now you and I can actually hack it and build something with it. So how does that whole movement look?
I feel like as far as installation or deployment of my project, it used to be real divided, where I would either have to go pay a company somewhere in the world to build this thing for me, and I need to buy 10,000 of them, by the way, in order to get it for any reasonable rate.
Right.
And then I can get it small.
Yeah.
If I want to build it myself, I have to get an enclosure that's this big, and I need to bolt all my pieces in there, and I'll get it to fit, and it'll work, but it'll be huge.
Right.
And that gap has shrunk so that now I can do something with a Spark or an Edison or
You got it.
or
On
any
Edison.
of these.
Edison is another great example, right?
Right, and they're coming out like crazy. And I can build something that kind of is pretty much production size ready.
Yes,
it's installable,
I agree.
right?
Exactly.
One of my projects, I'm putting an Edison inside of a hat, and
yeah?
the fact that it's small enough that it can fit above my head and under the top of the hat is significant. It wouldn't,
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to put a Raspberry Pi up there.
You got it, right. So yeah, I mean, again, love to also touch on Intel. Intel also a great example how they totally get it and how they move the price point, the power, and the form factors to smaller and more things that actually fit stuff. They now have that new internet button they came out with.
Yeah, what's it called? The Curio?
I forgot. but it's like, it all goes back to almost like the initial question, what are hackers, what are hacker spaces, how does this whole movement happen, and now the tools that they get to play with, and what does that mean for the future? I mean, if you really immerse yourself in this, I don't know, you call it an industry, in this movement sort of, you can really build stuff that is actually useful, looks good, can be reused. That's another thing that I love about it, that you can actually reuse stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Versus just, here's another product I got from Fortune, some company.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that because I'm actually the Fortune. I'm drinking a Fortune coffee. Let me try it.
It tastes that Fortune coffee.
It's the best coffee I've ever had. But it is kind of maybe also, I would have hoped that in the future people buy product they can actually reuse, rebuild, repurpose, versus just say, I don't need it anymore, it's garbage, I'm going to get the next one.
Yeah, I can pull the Edison out of the hat and plug it into this other project and plug it into this other project. It's more of a commodity because it's less specialized.
Correct.
Able to move around.
Yeah, no, I agree, I totally agree.
Yeah.
That's
now,
great.
tell me why you have an affinity for hardware.
Okay, sure. So first, I'm not a classic hardware hacker, admission. I'm actually more of a business hardware hacker.
Do you have the resistor band color codes memorized?
No, I don't.
Okay, so that...
It's funny because it's amazing. I actually I started an engineering school for electrical engineering after high school. Accent, Israel. I went actually in 1 year, and then I didn't want to do it. I wasn't interested, which is kind of crazy to me today. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
But I did start actually a hardware company in 2010, and I started to play with this in 2009. This is before I even knew anything about open source hardware and the hacker movement. I was the hacker movement of one at home with literally buying stuff on Alibaba.com and duct taping it and trying to be the engineer that I wasn't, and maybe I'll never be. But then I did meet a guy who was a Texas Instruments engineer, and together we actually put together this company, and kind of got lucky. The whole thing kind of got swallowed by another company, and then I've done this for almost 5 years. But I've learned, what does it take to have an idea and hack it into some prototype, a breadboard, and then a beautiful prototype, and then actually ship it in thousands of units, even hundreds of thousands of units eventually. And it is so not trivial. I can't even explain. I mean, the humility was pretty profound, that it kind of made me feel, how do other people want to do it? Because then I started seeing people want to do hardware. I want to build hardware. And I'm like, okay, so there's a few things. There's the hacker hardware, which is fun. There's a commercial hardware, which is also fun, but require a ton of capital. Can I be part of a company that help actually people solve and learn how to do this?
Yeah.
And this is why Hackster is really as a creation platform. We're trying to tell people, start by playing with things and share and learn, but we're actually adding capabilities. And I'm the co-founder. The founder is Ben Larald, who is actually in San Francisco. So we actually are a Seattle and San Francisco company. We're headquartered in San Francisco. So both me and Ben, we keep thinking about Hackster as a creation platform. How do we help people learn first and then build, creating maybe a single click to purchase the entire BOM. So you already have the source code, the schematics, so all you need is the BOM. You're not going to go and place orders, resistors, capacitors, right?
Yeah.
One click, everything gets aggregated and sent to you. Or if you want to become commercial one day, so we're partnering with companies like Dragon Innovation, for example, that can actually help you certify your product and manufacture it should you want to, or certify it prior to crowdfunding. So we're trying to really think, how do we help people to...
You're a facilitator.
A facilitator, right.
Yeah.
If you want to just learn, it's great. If you want to build, you can do that too. And if you want to commercial, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So it's a creation platform for us.
It's really telling that a website like Hackster.io might be the place that I tell somebody, go here if you want to get started. Because I can't necessarily send them to the manufacturer of the board.
Right.
Because they'll go there and they won't tell them anything about how to plug in their LED. Or I can send them to Radio Shack and they can get their LEDs, but that won't speak to which board they should plug in.
You got it.
But this is kind of the all-in-one. I go to Hackster.io, I find a project that I like, and I go, oh, what do I need for this project? These 7 things, and I can bring those all home, follow the steps.
You got it.
And learn it.
Exactly. Thanks, Jeremy. I'll send you the check in the mail.
Well, that's not explicitly a plug. It's just.
But no, it's cool. But
just my experience.
But really, it's really for Ben and I. It was really a passion project. I came to the project from how do people actually succeed in learning about hardware, because I knew nothing about it, and then I knew a lot about it at some point. And then Ben came from the angle of like, how do people think they can just crowdfund stuff because they're good in marketing, but they don't know how to build it and how to actually take it to market. So when we kind of came together, it was all about help enable people to know more, to play with this more. You got to play with things. Even though, like we said earlier, a lot of people can do it today, it's not as complicated, but it's not that trivial either. You have to learn. There is a learning curve.
It seems like Hackster's somewhat broad. You know, you're appealing to the folks like myself who I think in true developer fashion, I care less about the final product and more about getting my mind around these concepts and being able to say, I know how to do that. And same thing in the makerspace. I want to make something on a laser cutter and say, now I know how to do that. But you're also appealing to the guys who want to get all the way up to a commercial release. What's the phrase that you used? Is it duct tape to Best Buy or something like that?
It really is. It is duct tape. I mean, I've seen duct tape to Best Buy. I documented. I have the pictures. Scope. It is the full scope. But I do recognize that not everybody want to get there, and it's actually great because it's kind of like there's almost like the intellectual curiosity of humans. If it's only about commercializing, I think we're missing so much.
There's something missing.
So all of us need to kind of like create that split. This is where I just play with stuff because I'm passionate about it and I want to learn. I want to challenge myself, and I'm also in that category many times. But in some of us sometimes have this spark and we say, you know what, I would love to make a living out of this. I would love for other people to use it. So I give an example. Some people post a project on Hackster. They'll get 40,000 page views and hundreds of comments. And we actually saw these people then show up on crowdfunding because they're like, people really love what I do, so maybe I should do something with it.
There you go.
But generally speaking, a lot of it is for the love of creation and learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's actually go to Hackster.io and tell. Okay, so I showed everybody last week on CodeChat a project that I'm working on, and I'll show you. Not working on, I pretty much already did it, and I can't think and type at the same time, but I'm looking up codefoster.com/tweetmonkey, and this is currently hosted on my blog.
Great.
And people may or may not find my blog, but we want to create these Acme experiences where people know they can come to Hackster.io and find everything, all these projects. And so what if I want to take TweetMonkey and I want to submit it to Hackster so that more people will find TweetMonkey and get inspired and say, oh, I could do that, and find the components that they need. So, can you walk me through?
Yeah, sure.
Doing that?
So I would add a project. And by the way, as you create your profile, you actually can link it back to your blog. We do understand a lot of people, this is like we talked about the whole hacker movement, right? It is a very blog, individual-centric. People just do really cool stuff. So we don't just say, hey, this project lived on Hackster and this is the ultimate home. This is one of the homes that you can actually communicate with people. It's almost like a marketplace for people, but it does communicate back or connect back to your blog and to the original asset. Yeah, so you create a description.
Okay.
You can definitely select a picture for a cover image.
Okay.
But ultimately, you can also import it if the fields actually match correctly. So we actually do this for a lot of people and a lot of companies. But ultimately, there's a few things, you can go through this, of course, that a great project on Hackster actually showcases. You really tell a story of what did you build and why did you build it, right? Like, which kind of inspires people. I tried to solve this problem and I did it this way. People love videos, obviously, and maybe GIFs, little running
something
loops.
Moving, yeah.
Yeah, to kind of get them inspired. But at the end of it, the best and most popular projects actually showcase complete code libraries, which we use your Git, right, repository. If you have a schematic of your PCB.
Okay, so you're pointing back to all of my stuff. It's not like I have to get it out and as a static snapshot. So now if I make an update to it, they get to see that. That's cool.
So it's really cool. It's really alive. If you use, for example, if any schematic of your PCB, you can use a fritzing software or Upverter. We actually connect with that, and we're going to add some more products like Circuits.io, which is now an Autodesk company. But these are really amazing. So again, if you guys, watching this,
all of you,
Fritzing, Upverter, amazing, Circuits.io, really great schematic programs. A lot of them are free to use or to start with, and they're just really wonderful. So you can actually connect to that. Bill of materials, typically we like to know which board did you use. Is it an electric imp or a BeagleBoard or an Arduino? The components.
And kind of the specific components, right? So they can just hit order and they know it's going to work.
And we do all that for you. You don't have to really connect it to any ordering system. We actually aggregate the entire component list, and we have partnerships with DigiKey and Mouser, which are big distribution companies for electronics. We actually don't make any money of it. We just enable the one-click. People actually get to buy it. They make money of it, which is good for them.
That's good because,
it's all about again, people that actually can replicate and rebuild it.
Yeah.
And then it has a life of its own. Then people come back to you. They can actually. So these are the three top things. If you have an enclosure for CAD, we say you can also upload a CAD enclosure. But otherwise, 4 things. These are 4 things. Again, BOM, schematics, code, and CAD. And then you upload. It's done. Then people can comment on it. They can talk to you. They can follow you. You can actually soon you're going to be able to have like a live chat if you're actually online, have presence.
Wow.
But they actually can just send you an email. And we're starting to see people kind of forming teams, and that co-creation thing is starting to happen. So it's really fun because it has more of a life to it. And then people find you on it because of SEO. So that's kind of really neat too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a few things you have to fill out for sure to make it really meaty and useful.
That's super awesome.
Pretty straightforward.
I'm thinking, again, specifically about this one. I've got some decisions to make as far as which components to get. And when I blogged about TweetMonkey, I basically gave some general parameters like, well, try to find a relay that fits these general parameters.
Yeah.
And that might be ambiguous enough to scare a beginner away and say, I don't feel confident hitting order on a piece. So it's nice that on Hackster you facilitate finding the DigiKey part number 1, 2, 3, 4 that's going to get them the exact
You got it.
piece.
So it just pulls it. It goes to the DigiKey fast add tool.
Yeah.
Mouser has the exact same system, and then we just like pull it and
excellent.
Click, buy, send to your house. Have fun, build it, right?
Well, we should probably wrap up soon.
Cool.
Is there anything else that you want to add?
I just want to say that what excites me the most about this whole movement now into 2015 is open source hardware, which I'm really fascinated by because you're starting to see how everybody's open sourcing a lot of stuff. One of the biggest announcements in recent years was, and not just electronics, how Tesla Motors, they open all their patents for the car, for the magnetic engine. Toyota's hydrogen car, they have over 5,000 patents. They just made them completely open and free to reuse. And then you see all these companies, from Seed Studio in Shenzhen, SparkFun, Adafruit, all these open source hardware companies are flourishing and growing to like hundreds of millions of dollars of businesses because they just create these things that are created by the community, so to speak, and they just add on to it and produce these beautiful products in really fast iterations. And everybody get to use them and everybody get to be part of it.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what happened to software 2 decades ago, maybe even more, which is amazing. It's happening now in a very big way, in a very mainstream way, I would say, for hardware. And it just makes it so available for everybody. And and also the languages, it's not just C. There's other like different kind of more entry-level languages. You can do entry-level programming of hardware, which is really exciting too, because not everybody knows C. So a lot of people are getting into Ruby or Python. And I'm not saying you can do everything with Ruby and Python on these devices, but you can start. So it's just really amazing to see that this is now it's an inclusion of so many more people. And it's really empowering. Even people like me that, I was in technology my whole life, but I was never a technologist. So I always appreciate when things kind of, the standard was a bit lowered for people like me to get in. And I feel so empowered, that I can actually do something. I can turn something on or off. So from that respect, remarkable. And it is a global movement, so.
Can you tell folks about the roadshow real quick, just so they know?
Yeah, great, sure. So Hackster is a virtual community of a physical community. So we figured that's a bit of an oxymoron, so we need to go on the road. So we launched the Hackster Hardware Weekends. If you go to hackster.io, it's hardware weekends. And then what you can see is that we are going to visit 10 cities in the United States. We're going to start in the US. We actually might go to Europe next year, and maybe even to Asia, to Shenzhen only this year. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of hackathons starting in Seattle all the way down to the West Coast, Middle America, and then the East Coast, sponsored by amazing companies from Microsoft is probably going to be there, but Intel, Freescale, Texas Instruments, and all the amazing startups like Spark and SparkFun and Seed Studio and Relayer and all these good guys. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a theme in every city and build something really cool and upload all the projects into Hackster versus just kind of dissipate and vanish after a hackathon, because it's amazing things that built in hackathon. Right. It's too bad nobody capturing them. But here's the most amazing thing we're going to do. We actually, are you ready? We're not buying, we purchased a DeLorean DMC 12, 1981.
That is so cool.
Pristine condition, only 30,000 miles. It's being shipped to my house here in Seattle in the next few weeks.
You're going to call me that day, right?
Listen, we got to come and touch that metal, that brushed aluminum. And the idea is that if you guys recall Back in the Future, that movie many of us grew up on, or grew up and rerun it over some VHS DVDs and now on Netflix, Doc Emmett Brown, when he went the whole hoverboards and that future scene, it was actually in 2015. It was October 21st, 2015. We're going to hack the DeLorean time machine until October 21st, 2015 with all the latest sensors, electronics, the radios, data connectivity to a variety of cloud services, and see what would you have done with this time machine if it was actually the real 2015. So this is something we're going to do throughout the entire roadshow. So you're going to see the DeLorean with the big Hackster and everybody else's stickers on it. So you can, if you want to do a robotic arm, amazing. That's going to be some of our themes. But if you want to hack the Back to the Future car, Hack to the Future, it's going to be there. So check us out, hackster.io. And in fact, you can just see the hardware weekend
right
is
a
top,
cool.
on the front page. So
okay, let's wrap it. Thanks a lot for joining us today, Adam. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Microsoft.
Appreciate it. For the coffee.
Yeah, delicious coffee.
Thanks for joining us on CodeChat. See you next time.